The training room was unlike any other place in the research facility. Bright lights, white walls, strange machines that looked like they came from a science fiction movie. David Lee stood in the center of the room. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a scientist. He was just someone who had discovered something amazing about himself. Dr. Hee-Soo Kim watched carefully from behind a thick glass wall. Her computer screen showed hundreds of different readings. Heart rate, brain activity, genetic responses. Everything was changing in ways no one had seen before. "Concentrate," she said through a speaker. David closed his eyes. He thought about survival, about pushing past limits, about the genetic mechanism that lived inside every human cell. Something started to happen. His body temperature changed. His heart rate slowed down, but he didn't look sick. He looked strong, different. The kill switch wasn't just a defensive mechanism. It was something more. Researchers from different parts of the facility gathered to watch. Some looked excited. Some looked scared. No one had ever seen anything like this before. "The human body can adapt," Dr. Kim explained to her colleagues. "But this is something else. This is active control." David opened his eyes. He looked calm, relaxed, but the computer screen showed something incredible. His genetic structure had changed, not completely, but enough to prove that humans could do something no other species could. Control their own genetic code. News spread quickly, not just in the research facility, not just on Earth, but across different star systems. Alien civilizations watched video recordings of David's tests. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Some humans could actually control their genetic kill switch. Dr. J. Park reviewed the research notes. Each test showed something new. Humans who could slow down their metabolism. Humans who could change how their body responded to stress. Humans who could do things that looked impossible. "It's not magic," he told a group of alien researchers. "It's evolution." The kill switch was becoming something more than just a survival mechanism. It was a tool, a way for humans to understand their own potential. In another part of the research facility, more tests were happening. More humans were learning to understand the genetic mechanism inside them. Some could lower their body temperature in extreme cold. Others could push their bodies to survive in ways that seemed impossible. Each test showed something new about human potential. Alien scientists watched the recordings over and over. They couldn't understand how humans could do these things. The genetic kill switch was more than just a defensive tool. It was a way of survival that no other species had ever seen. "Humans are different," Dr. Kim wrote in her research report. "They don't just survive. They adapt." The military leaders who had wanted to use the kill switch as a weapon now looked worried. This wasn't something that could be controlled. This was something alive, something that grew and changed. David Lee continued his training. Each day, he learned something new about the genetic mechanism inside him. Each day, he showed that humans were more than just another species in the galaxy. They were something special. Outside the research facility, stars continued to shine. Planets continued to spin. And humans continued to surprise everyone. The galaxy was learning something important. Humans were not just another species to be studied or controlled. They were something else entirely. The Galactic Council chamber was burning with tension. Representatives from different star systems sat around a massive circular table that seemed to float in space. Holographic displays showed genetic maps, research reports, and images of human test subjects. "Humans cannot be allowed to continue this research," growled General Kron. His scaled skin turned a deep, angry red. "They are a threat to every other species in the galaxy." Admiral Tura from the Crystal Confederation nodded slowly. Her body shimmered like glass as she moved. "We must take action," she said. Dr. Jai Park stood at the center of the room. He looked small compared to the massive alien representatives, but his voice was clear and strong. "We are not a threat," he said. "We are trying to understand ourselves." Nobody was listening. The Galactic Council had been discussing humans for months. Some wanted to study them. Others wanted to stop them. A few wanted to completely remove humans from interstellar travel. Suddenly, alarms began to sound. A militaristic alien faction had launched an attack. Their ships appeared out of nowhere, surrounding the research facility where humans were studying the genetic kill switch. "Capture the human research subjects," ordered Commander Vex, leader of the militant group. "We will understand their genetic secret." Dr. Hisu Kim watched the screens in the research facility. She saw the approaching ships. She knew what was happening. "Evacuate," she told the other researchers. Now. But some humans were not going to run. David Lee, the researcher who had shown incredible control over the genetic kill switch, stood in the main research room. He wasn't scared. He was ready. The first alien boarding ships landed. Soldiers in strange metal suits began to enter the facility. They moved quickly, professionally. They were prepared to capture human researchers and take all their genetic research. They were not prepared for what happened next. As the alien soldiers entered, something strange began to occur. The humans in the facility didn't panic. They didn't run. Instead, they stood their ground. David Lee's body began to change, not physically, but genetically. The kill switch was activating. Alien soldiers found themselves unable to move. Their weapons stopped working. Their communication systems went silent. It was like the entire facility had become a dead zone. "What is happening?" Commander Vex shouted into his communication device. Dr. Park watched from the Galactic Council chamber. He knew exactly what was happening. The human genetic kill switch was more than just a defensive mechanism. It was a complete survival system. Outside the facility, alien ships began to experience strange technical problems. Systems shut down. Engines stopped working. It was as if the entire human research facility had become a black hole of technological failure. The Galactic Council watched in shock. "They're not attacking," Dr. Park explained. "They're defending themselves." The militant alien faction's attack had failed completely. Not because of weapons, not because of fighting, but because humans had a genetic ability that no other species could understand. Survival, adaptation, protection. As quickly as it had started, the confrontation ended. Alien ships retreated. The research facility remained untouched. The galaxy had just learned an important lesson. Humans were different. Humans were special, and they would not be easily controlled. Stars continued to shine. Planets continued to spin. And humans continued to be something the galaxy had never seen before. A species that could truly survive, no matter what. The research facility looked like something from a science fiction movie. Massive computers filled entire rooms. Holographic displays showed complex genetic maps that twisted and turned like living things. Dr. Joe Park and Dr. Sung Min stood in the center of this high-tech world, trying to solve the biggest mystery of the century. "We need to understand where this kill switch came from," Dr. Sung Min said, her fingers dancing across a transparent computer screen. Jay nodded. The genetic kill switch was more than just a scientific puzzle. It was a mystery that could change everything humans knew about their own evolution. They started by looking back. Way back, ancient human DNA samples were carefully preserved in special containers. Some came from preserved remains found in different parts of the world. Others were reconstructed using advanced genetic technologies. Each sample told a story, a piece of human history written in genetic code. "Look at this," Sung said suddenly. She pulled up a holographic image of a genetic sequence that looked different from the others. The image showed a genetic map from humans who lived thousands of years ago. It was rough, incomplete, but it had the first hints of what would become the kill switch. "Survival," Jay whispered. "This looks like a survival mechanism." They worked for days without stopping. Coffee machines ran nonstop. Food was brought in. Sleep became something of a rare luxury. But they were close to something big. They could feel it. The first theory was simple. Humans had gone through some really tough times in their history. Ice ages, massive climate changes, periods when only a few thousand humans survived. What if the kill switch was nature's way of helping humans survive? Hee-Soo Kim joined the research team, bringing fresh eyes and new ideas. She discovered something interesting in the ancient genetic samples. The kill switch seemed to become more complex during the most challenging periods of human history. It's like the human body was learning, she explained to the team. When things got really bad, the genetic code would change. Adapt. The research began to paint a picture. Humans weren't just survivors. They were adaptive survivors. News of their progress spread quickly. The Galactic Council was watching every move. Alien scientists from different star systems sent messages, asking for updates. Everyone wanted to know about this mysterious human genetic mechanism. Dr. Sung Min found the most interesting clue during a late-night research session. The kill switch wasn't just a simple genetic sequence. It was a complex system that could change itself. It's like a living computer program, she told Ja, but inside human DNA. They discovered that the kill switch could be triggered by different things: extreme environmental stress, genetic damage, even psychological trauma. It was a multi-layered defense system that could protect humans in ways no other species could understand. One afternoon, as sunlight streamed through the laboratory windows, Jay realized something important. This wasn't just about survival. This was about human potential. "We're looking at the most advanced genetic system in the known universe," he said to Sung and Hee-Soo. The team knew they were on the edge of something huge. The kill switch was more than just a genetic oddity. It was proof that humans were special, different. Outside the research facility, the galaxy waited. Alien civilizations watched. Everyone wanted to know what humans would do next. But inside the lab, Dr. Ja Park and his team were just getting started. They had a mystery to solve, and they were going to solve it, one genetic sequence at a time. The meeting room was silent. Too silent. Military leaders from different alien civilizations sat around a massive circular table. Holographic displays showed genetic maps, research reports, and complicated charts. Everyone was thinking the same thing. What if the human genetic kill switch could be used as a weapon? General Kron from the Orion Military Alliance spoke first. His scaled skin changed colors as he talked, shifting from deep green to a bright, angry red. "We cannot allow humans to have this advantage," he said. "It's too dangerous." Admiral Tura, representing the Crystal Confederation, nodded slowly. Her body seemed to shimmer like glass as she moved. "We need to control this technology," she added. Dr. J. Park sat at the far end of the table. He looked small compared to the massive alien military leaders, but his voice was clear and strong when he spoke. "The kill switch is not a weapon," he explained. "It's a survival mechanism." Nobody was listening. Military strategists from 12 different star systems had been studying the human genetic research for months. They saw possibilities, opportunities, potential ways to use this strange genetic mechanism as a tool of war. Some wanted to develop methods to trigger the kill switch in humans. Others wanted to study how to block it. A few even suggested creating a version they could use against other species. The discussions went on for hours. Outside the meeting room, the galaxy continued to spin. Millions of planets, billions of life forms, and in the middle of it all, humans were becoming something different, something special. Dr. Hee-Soo Kim watched the meeting from a side room. She could see the tension, the fear. The military leaders were scared of what they didn't understand. "This is wrong," she whispered to herself. The kill switch was not a weapon. It was a gift, a special ability that showed how humans could survive, how they could adapt, how they could change when things got really tough. But the military leaders didn't see it that way. General Kron pulled up a holographic display showing different scenarios. What if the kill switch could be used to stop enemy populations? What if it could be a new form of biological defense? Dr. Park tried to explain again. "The kill switch is part of human DNA," he said. "It's not something you can just take out and use like a tool. But no one was listening. The meeting continued. More plans were made. More ideas were discussed. The military leaders saw the human genetic kill switch as something to control, something to use. They didn't understand that it was more than just a genetic trick. It was a symbol of human survival. In another part of the galaxy, human researchers continued their work. They were trying to understand the kill switch, to learn from it, to see what made it special. The military leaders wanted to use it as a weapon, but humans saw it differently. As the meeting continued, tensions grew. The alien military leaders became more and more excited about the possibilities. They saw the kill switch as a new way to fight wars, a new way to protect their civilizations. Dr. Park knew they were wrong. The kill switch was not about destruction. It was about survival, about hope, about the ability to change and adapt when everything else said you should give up. Outside the meeting room, stars continued to shine, planets continued to spin, and humans continued to be something special, something different, something the galaxy had never seen before. The news spread faster than a wildfire in a dry forest. Within hours of Dr. J. Park's discovery, communication channels across the galaxy lit up with messages, questions, and growing panic. The Galactic Council meeting room was unlike any conference hall on Earth. Its walls shimmered with holographic displays, and representatives from dozens of alien species sat around a massive circular table. Some looked like they had too many arms. Others seemed to be made of something that wasn't quite solid. But today, they all shared one thing: complete shock. A genetic kill switch, asked Koro, the bluish representative from the Centauri cluster. His 3 eyes blinked in rapid succession. How is this possible? Dr. Park stood at the center of the room. He looked small compared to the massive alien representatives, but his voice was steady. It's not just possible, he explained. It's real. Human DNA contains a complex genetic mechanism that can potentially shut down cellular functions under specific conditions. The room erupted in noise. Some alien representatives looked scared. Others looked excited. A few looked angry. This is a weapon, growled Lex II, a reptilian representative from the Outer Rim territories. His scales changed color with his emotions, shifting from deep green to a bright, alarming red. Humans have been hiding this capability. Hee-Soo Kim, standing beside Jay, spoke up. It's not a weapon, she said firmly. It's a survival mechanism. We don't fully understand it yet. But nobody was listening to her. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Some representatives wanted to immediately restrict human travel. Others demanded more research. A few suggested cutting off all diplomatic relations with Earth until the genetic mechanism was fully understood. Dr. J. Park watched the arguments with a mix of fascination and worry. He knew this discovery was big, but he hadn't expected it to cause such a massive reaction. News networks across different star systems began broadcasting the discovery. On Earth, people watched in confusion as alien representatives argued about something most humans didn't yet understand. Social media exploded with theories, jokes, and wild speculation. Humans have a self-destruct button, one popular meme asked. Military strategists from various alien civilizations started analyzing the potential implications. If humans could somehow control this genetic kill switch, what did that mean for interstellar conflicts? Could it be a defensive mechanism? An offensive weapon? Back in the Galactic Council meeting, the arguments continued. We need more information, demanded a crystalline being from the Andromeda sectors. Its body shifted and changed shape as it spoke, reflecting its agitated state. Dr. Park took a deep breath. We're still researching, he said. This is a complex genetic mechanism. We don't know all its functions or limitations. But the aliens weren't satisfied with that answer. They wanted certainty. They wanted to understand this mysterious human capability that seemed to break all the known rules of genetic science. Hee-Soo leaned close to Jai and whispered, "This is going to change everything, isn't it?" Jay nodded slowly. "Everything," he confirmed. Outside the meeting hall, The galaxy was changing. Humans had always been seen as just another species, curious, adaptable, but not particularly special. Now, everything was different. The discovery of the genetic kill switch was more than just a scientific breakthrough. It was a moment that would be remembered in galactic history. Humans were no longer just another species trying to find their place in the universe. They were something else entirely. As the Galactic Council continued its heated debate, one thing became clear. The universe would never look at humans the same way again. The Galactic Council chamber was silent. Dr. Jed Park stood at the center, surrounded by representatives from hundreds of different alien civilizations. His presentation would change everything. Humans are not just another species, he began. We are something more. A holographic display behind him showed genetic maps, research findings, and images of humans adapting to impossible conditions. Alien representatives leaned forward. Some looked scared. Some looked amazed. Dr. Park explained how the human genetic kill switch was more than just a defensive mechanism. It was a complete survival system, a way of adapting that no other species in the galaxy had ever seen. We don't just survive, he said. We evolve. The room was packed. Alien representatives from every corner of the known universe had come to hear this presentation. They had watched humans for years. They had tried to understand them. Now, they would finally learn the truth. Dr. Hee-Soo Kim stood nearby, ready to answer technical questions. She had spent years studying the genetic mechanism. She knew every detail, every possibility. The presentation continued. Images showed humans surviving in extreme conditions, changing their genetic code in real time, adapting to environments that would kill other species in seconds. The kill switch is not a weapon, Dr. Park explained. It's a survival tool, a way of changing, of growing, of becoming something more. Alien representatives watched in silence. David Lee, the researcher who had shown incredible genetic control, was also in the room. He represented something new, a human who could actively control the genetic mechanism inside him. The holographic display showed his tests, how he could change his body's responses, how he could survive in conditions that seemed impossible. Humans are different, Dr. Sung Min added. We are not just another species in the galaxy. We are evolution in action. The Galactic Council members looked at each other. Some looked worried. Some looked excited. But all of them knew something important was happening. Humans were changing how the galaxy understood life itself. The presentation went on. More evidence, more discoveries. Each slide showed something incredible about human potential. General Kron, who had once wanted to stop human research, now looked amazed. His scaled skin changed colors, showing his emotions. Fear, respect, wonder. We thought humans were a threat, he said quietly. Now we see they are something else. Dr. Park's final slide showed a simple message. Humans, the species that adapts. The room was completely silent. Outside the council chamber, stars continued to shine. Planets continued to spin, and humans continued to be something special. A species that could truly survive. A species that could change. A species that was more than just alive. The Galactic Council had learned an important lesson. Humans were not just another species to be studied or controlled. They were something else entirely. Evolution itself. As the presentation ended, alien representatives began to discuss what they had seen. Some were scared. Some were excited. But all of them understood one thing. The galaxy would never be the same again. Humans had changed everything. And they were just getting started. The research facility looked different now. Something had changed. The walls seemed to hum with a strange energy. Scientists moved differently. They walked with confidence, with purpose. Dr. Sung Min stood in the main laboratory, reviewing the latest test results. Her computer screens were filled with genetic maps that looked like living, breathing things. We're not just survivors, she said to herself. We're something more. After the failed alien attack, everything had changed. Humans had discovered something incredible about themselves. The genetic kill switch was more than just a defensive tool. It was a complete survival system. David Lee walked into the lab. He looked different, stronger, more aware. The genetic tests had shown something amazing about him and other humans like him. The kill switch is learning, Dr. Sung explained to her team. It's not just sitting there. It's active. It's alive. Researchers from different parts of the world had been studying the genetic mechanism. Each day, they discovered something new. Humans could do things no other species could even imagine. Some humans could slow down their metabolism in extreme conditions. Others could change how their body responded to stress. Some could even control parts of their genetic code that scientists thought were impossible to modify. The Galactic Council was watching. Alien civilizations were confused, scared, amazed. Humans are adapting. Dr. J. Park told a group of alien researchers, "We're not just surviving, we're changing." The kill switch was proving to be something special. It wasn't just a genetic trick. It was a complete survival system that could change and grow. In another part of the research facility, more tests were happening. Humans were learning to understand the genetic mechanism inside them. Some could survive in extreme cold. Others could push their bodies past what seemed possible. Alien scientists continued to watch the recordings. They couldn't understand how humans could do these things. The genetic kill switch was more than just a defensive tool. It was a way of survival that no other species had ever seen. Humans are different, Dr. Hee-Soo Kim wrote in her latest research report. They don't just survive, they evolve. The military leaders who had wanted to use the kill switch as a weapon now looked worried. This wasn't something that could be controlled. This was something alive, something that grew and changed. David Lee continued his training. Each day, he learned something new about the genetic mechanism inside him. Each day, he showed that humans were more than just another species in the galaxy. Researchers discovered that the kill switch could do more than just defend. It could help humans adapt to new environments, change how their bodies worked, survive in ways that seemed impossible. A team of scientists found that some humans could actually modify their genetic code in real time. They could change how their body responded to different threats. They could survive in spaces that would kill other species. It's like having a living computer inside your body, one researcher said. The Galactic Council meetings became tense. Alien representatives watched recordings of human tests. They saw humans doing things that seemed impossible, changing, adapting, surviving. "We don't understand them," General Kron admitted during one meeting. His scaled skin changed colors, showing his confusion and fear. Outside the research facility, stars continued to shine. Planets continued to spin. And humans continued to surprise everyone. The galaxy was learning something important. Humans were not just another species to be studied or controlled. They were something else entirely. A species that could truly survive. A species that could change. A species that was more than just alive. They were evolution in action. The laboratory hummed with a soft, steady rhythm of machines. Rows of glass containers lined the walls, each filled with a strange, colored liquid that held samples from across the galaxy. Dr. J. Park sat hunched over his computer, his eyes red and tired from hours of endless research. It was 2:37 in the morning when everything changed. Jay's fingers moved quickly across the keyboard, sorting through genetic data that would make most people's heads spin. He was searching for patterns, comparing DNA sequences from different alien species. Most researchers would have given up long ago, but Jay was different. He was patient. He was curious. The computer screen flickered. Lines of genetic code scrolled past, a complex language that only the most skilled scientists could understand. Suddenly, something caught his eye. A small difference, a tiny variation that seemed out of place. Jay leaned closer to the screen. His heart began to beat faster. "Hee-Soo," he called out to his assistant, who was sleeping on a small couch in the corner of the lab. "Hee-Soo, wake up. You need to see this." Hee-Soo Kim stirred, rubbing her eyes. She had been working with Jia for 3 years and knew that when he sounded like this, something important had happened. "What is it?" she mumbled, walking over to his workstation. Jay pointed at the screen. "Look at these genetic sequences. Every single alien species we've studied has a similar genetic structure. But humans," he zoomed in on a specific section of DNA. "Humans are completely different." The screen showed multiple genetic maps. Most looked similar, smooth, predictable with small variations. But the human genetic sequence was different. It had something extra. A complex structure that looked almost like a hidden switch. "It's like a kill switch," Jay whispered. Hisu looked confused. "Oh, what?" Jay explained quickly. "In computer programming, a kill switch is a mechanism that can shut down a system quickly. But this is in human DNA. It looks like a genetic mechanism that could potentially shut down human cells under specific conditions." The implications were enormous. Every other species in the galaxy had relatively straightforward genetic codes. They were predictable, controllable. But humans? Humans were different. Hisu grabbed a cup of coffee from a nearby machine. "We need to verify this," she said. "Run more tests." For the next several hours, they worked without stopping. They checked and double-checked their findings. They compared samples from different human populations. They ran every test they could think of. The result was always the same. By sunrise, the laboratory was a mess of papers, empty coffee cups, and computer screens filled with genetic data. Jay and Hisu sat side by side, exhausted but excited. "We need to tell the Interstellar Research Consortium," Jay said. Hisu nodded. "They're not going to believe this." The genetic kill switch was more than just a scientific discovery. It was a revelation that would change everything humans knew about themselves and their place in the universe. Outside the laboratory window, the first rays of sunlight began to shine. A new day was starting. And with it, a new understanding of human potential was about to be unleashed. Jay Park looked at his assistant. "This is going to be big," he said simply. And he had no idea just how big it would become. The laboratory on Proxima Station was the most advanced research facility in the known galaxy. Alien scientists from 12 different star systems worked together, united by a single goal: to understand and copy the human genetic kill switch. Dr. Yoon Jae-yun watched through a glass window as another experiment failed. The Kraxan researchers, tall, insect-like beings with multiple arms, looked frustrated. Their latest attempt to recreate the human genetic mechanism had just turned into a complete disaster. Test tubes filled with genetic material bubbled, and then suddenly collapsed, the alien DNA breaking down in ways no one could predict. "It doesn't make sense," muttered Dr. Zex, the lead Kraxan researcher. His multiple eyes blinked in different sequences, showing his confusion. Jae-yun knew exactly why it didn't make sense. The human genetic kill switch was not something that could be simply copied or stolen. It was more complex than any genetic system in the known universe. For months, alien research teams had tried everything. They used the most advanced genetic technologies. They employed the most brilliant minds from across different civilizations. But nothing worked. Each attempt failed in a unique way. The Centauri researchers tried to map the genetic sequence. Their computers crashed. The silicon-based life forms from the Andromeda sector couldn't even get past the first layer of genetic complexity. The crystalline beings from the outer rim saw their most advanced genetic modeling systems completely shut down. Jae-yun took notes. Every single failure told her something important about the human genetic kill switch. "It's adaptive," she explained during a video conference with Dr. Jay Park back on Earth. "The kill switch doesn't just sit there. It changes. It learns." The research had become more than just a scientific challenge. It was now a matter of galactic pride. Which civilization could first understand the human genetic mystery? In another part of the Proxima Station, a group of researchers worked on a different approach. Instead of trying to copy the kill switch, they wanted to understand how it worked. They broke down the genetic sequence into smaller and smaller pieces. But the more they looked, the more complex it became. It's like trying to understand an entire language by looking at individual letters, one frustrated researcher said. News of the continuous failures spread quickly across different star systems. Alien media outlets ran stories about the mysterious human genetic mechanism. Conspiracy theories began to grow. Some believe humans were hiding even more secrets. Dr. Jai-yun knew the truth was both simpler and more complicated. The kill switch wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a secret technology. It was something that had grown with humans over thousands of years, a survival mechanism so advanced that no other species could understand it. One afternoon, during a particularly frustrating research session, something unexpected happened. A test sample, a mixture of human and alien genetic material, suddenly began to change. It didn't break down like the other samples. Instead, it started to adapt, to modify itself. The entire research station went silent. Dr. Zex approached the sample carefully. His multiple hands moved slowly, scanning the genetic material. "This is impossible," he whispered. Jai-yun smiled. Humans had always been full of surprises, and this was just the beginning. Outside the research station, stars continued to shine. Alien civilizations continued their daily lives. But something was changing. Slowly, surely, humans were different, and the galaxy was just beginning to understand how different they truly were.